A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, Monitor takes you everywhere and brings you everything interesting, from news and on-the-spot interviews to offbeat features around the world. And Monitor also brings you the finest drama with original stories and Hollywood's top stars each week on Monitor World Theater. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight's story, Mr. Costello Hero, by Theodore Sturgeon.
It began the day the skipper called me into his cabin. I'd been a purser aboard the spaceship Star Climber for almost 12 years, and I'd never yet been asked to Iron Man's cabin. But then a lot of strange things had been happening on this trip to Boranguen.
Come in. Oh. Sit down, Purser. I said sit down.
Yes, sir.
All right. Here's a deck of cards. Deal.
Sir?
I said deal. 5-card draw. Go on, man.
Yes, sir.
Well?
3 of a kind, sir.
You didn't draw.
I beg your pardon?
When you play draw poker, you're supposed to draw. If you don't draw, you're supposed to give your opponent a chance to draw. Now, mister, did you ask me to draw?
Well, we haven't been playing that way recently.
Who changed the rules?
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Let me ask you something else. You stood a watch last night in the ship's galley.
Why, yes, sir.
Has anybody ordered a galley watch?
Well, no, sir, but it isn't against the rules, is it?
Against the rules? No, it isn't. Now tell me, does the cook mind having a man watching him 24 hours a day?
Well, no, sir. You see, that way he knows everybody can trust him.
You mean that way you know he won't poison you?
Well, yes, sir.
Now tell me, Purser, who aboard this ship suggested that the cook might try to poison you?
Well, I really couldn't say, sir. It just came up. Well, Cookie doesn't mind, sir. Really, he doesn't. He says if he's watched all the time, then nobody can suspect him, so he doesn't mind.
All right. Now, let's proceed to something else. How long has it been customary for the deck officer to bring a witness with him when he takes over the watch?
That's out of my department,
Now,
sir.
think hard, Purser. Did you ever hear of a deck officer bringing a witness with him before this trip?
No, sir.
Or stand a galley watch?
No, sir.
Or play draw poker without drawing?
No, sir.
Now, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
We never had Mr. Costello as a passenger on this ship before, did we?
Mr. Costello?
Mr. Costello.
No, sir, we didn't.
Okay. Ask him to come to my cabin.
But
That's an order, mister.
Yes, sir. Let me tell you about Mr. Costello. He was our only passenger. Hello, Mr. Costello.
Hello, Purser.
Oh, am I interrupting something?
Not at all. Come sit down. I'm landing on Borngwen tomorrow, so I won't have much more chance to talk.
Well, I'll finish this later, Mr. Costello.
Nonsense. Honest men should be open with each other. Go ahead, show him what you discovered.
Well...
The Purser's a fine man.
Well, Mr. Costello asked me to show him in the space code what a captain can and cannot do.
Now, just a minute, Third. You wanted to show me, didn't you?
Well, yes.
So actually you're going over the limitations of a space captain's power of your own free will, right?
Well, I guess so, sure.
Sure. Tell the Purser the part that you just read me.
Well, it's a sort of safeguard against letting the skipper's power go to his head. Like, suppose a time comes when the captain begins to act up, you see. The crew figures a lunatic has taken over the bridge. Well, the crew can send a delegate for an accounting. If the skipper refuses, then the crew can confine the skipper.
Well, isn't there something about the proceedings having to be radioed at the time they happen?
Now, there is a man who is absolutely fair. Witnesses for the watch, safeguards on the kitchen. I tell you, you're all good men here. Yes, sir, this is the safest ship I've ever seen. Gives a fellow a nice feeling to know he isn't going to get his orders wrong or accidentally find something in the food.
Yes, sir. I wonder why we never thought of that before. Oh, I nearly forgot. Mr. Costello, the skipper wants to see you in his cabin.
Oh?
Right away.
I see. Will you come along with me just as a friendly precaution? You can wait outside. Well, in that way, both of us will know what happened. I'll never be able to say that you didn't give me the message, and you'll be able to say I went to see the skipper. Huh?
Well, I guess so. You know, that this buddy system sort of makes everything safer, doesn't it?
That's right, Purser. You can't do anything bad if you have a friend along to witness.
Mr. Costello and I went to the captain's cabin, and I waited outside. After a while, I could hear them shouting. That is, I could hear the captain shouting. Mr. Costello never raised his voice.
And let me tell you, Mr. Costello, that if my crew questions my sanity, they have legal recourse. But you can be sure that meanwhile, if a single man aboard questions my authority, he will learn that I am master of the ship, even if he must learn it at the point of a gun. Now, sir, get out.
Wow. You okay, Mr. Costello?
Yes, I'm fine. Did you hear anything?
Well, yes, I did.
Would you remember what you heard?
I think so.
Let's see. You see this little gadget, no bigger than a pocket watch?
Yes, sir. What is it?
Listen, I'll open it.
If a single man aboard questions my authority, he will learn that I am master of the ship, even if he must learn it at the point of a gun.
Whose voice is that?
Why, it's the captain.
Good man.
But how...
That's simple. You see, this little pin that I wear on my lapel here? This is a microphone. This watch is a magnetic recorder. I just use it as a toy, of course.
Well, I'll be darned.
You see, Purser, I'm a collector. What do I collect? Voices. Voices anywhere, anybody, anytime. Listen.
A lunatic has taken over the bridge.
Why, that's the third officer.
Mm-hmm. Listen to this now.
I better not, Mr. Costello. I wouldn't want you thinking I take bribes from passengers.
Recognize it?
Why, that's my voice.
Exactly. The time you brought me the special radio message from Earth Central.
And you offered me a blue gemstone, and I said that...
Hey, listen to this.
I take bribes from passengers.
Well, if that isn't the end...
Cute, huh? Well, I guess I'll get back to my cabin and pack. When do we arrive at Borngwen?
6 tomorrow morning.
Oh, good. By the way, I'd like you to come see me when you put in there again.
Well, that's very nice, sir, but you're an important man, and I'm just
Nonsense. I insist that you visit me.
Well, that's real nice.
Oh, by the way, what's the major trade on Borngwen?
Glunker.
Glunker?
Yes, it's a kind of soft fur. You can make a warm coat out of it that will roll up into a thimble.
You don't say. And the Glunker trade, that's carried out by trappers?
Mostly.
Mm-hmm.
They work alone and bring in the pelts.
I see. They spend a lot of time alone, huh?
That's right. You know, sometimes I envy them. I mean, working on a ship, you're almost never alone, and the way I see it, a man needs to be alone sometimes.
Correction. Only, I repeat, only if he has something to hide. Otherwise, to be alone is antisocial and evil.
We put in at Borngwen the following morning. I stood at the ramp of the ship and checked out the supplies and checked in the Glunker pelts that we were taking back to Earth. The Boringwin people were a nice, independent, easygoing bunch. I knew a Boringwin woman named Nola, and she came out to the ship to see me. 15,000 Glunker pelts. Check. 300 pounds of radioactive ergite. Check. Just put that shipment of show seed over next to the ramp.
Hello.
What? Well, Nola.
I saw your ship on the cargo manifest.
Well, it's good to see you.
Will you be on board when long?
Just for a day or so. Listen, I have to get this cargo checked in. Can we see each other later?
I'll be through at the spaceport at 16 hours.
Oh, good. Suppose I... Oh, excuse me a minute. Here comes our passenger.
Well, good morning. I see we've arrived safely.
Yes, sir. I expected you out before this.
I had a few items to get in order.
Oh, Mr. Costello, this is Nola. She's a Boringwina.
Well, it's very nice to meet you.
This is a real nice guy, Nola. See that he doesn't have any trouble with customs, will you? Nola works here.
Any friend of the purser?
Wonderful. Well, I'll say goodbye now. Remember to look me up, Purser, next time you hit Boringwin.
I will. He gave me that big, warm handshake of his and clapped his arm on my shoulder. Gave you a good feeling to know that a big shot like Mr. Costello really liked you. I got the rest of the cargo checked in. Took maybe 3 hours. Then I was about to go in and ask the skipper for leave when a couple of guys with Space Bureau credentials came aboard.
All right, that's it, boys. Close the hatches. Excuse me.
Yes?
Space Bureau. Is Captain Ireson aboard?
Why, yes.
You're the purser, huh?
That's right. Something wrong?
Would you mind answering a couple of questions?
Not at all.
Has the captain been behaving strangely this trip?
Well, not strangely, exactly.
Anything unusual?
Well, no. He called me in for a card game.
Mm-hmm. Does that happen often?
No, never happened before.
Was he upset?
Yes, I guess he was.
Okay. This gentleman would like you to answer a few simple questions. Meanwhile, I'll look up the skipper.
They took the skipper off the ship and left Boringwin the next morning with a new skipper assigned by the port captain. There was a rumor later that old Iron Man had been court-martialed or something. Nobody knew for certain. We made the rounds after that. Sigma, Nightingale, Carano, all the planets in the fourth system. We even went back to Earth with a load of blizzard skins and black prints. It must have been about, 16 months later that we made for Boringwin again. I was talking to the third officer.
Purser. I'd like to talk to you.
Go ahead.
We land at Boringwin tomorrow.
So?
I don't like it.
What's wrong with Boringwin? It's one of the best ports in the system.
It was.
What do you mean?
We got a radiogram from the Boringwin Customs a little while ago.
Okay, we got a radiogram. Some bureaucrat sent it. Nothing will happen.
Another thing. The way it was signed.
How was it signed?
Loneliness is evil. Port Captain Boringwin.
Loneliness is evil?
That's what it said.
On a government radiogram?
Mm-hmm.
Loneliness is evil. Where did I hear that before? Well, we touched down on Boringwin at 1200 hours. What a change. The spaceport was deserted. The only people who came aboard were 2 agents from Customs. They censored our tapes and checked our written literature. I finally started a conversation with them. Excuse me, sir?
Yeah?
There is a Boringwina named Nola that used to work in Customs. I wonder if she's still there.
I wouldn't know.
Well, the reason I asked, she usually meets my ship when it comes in.
Yeah, I see.
Well, maybe I'll look her up. She has an apartment on R Street.
She won't be living there. Try Central Barracks.
Central Barracks?
That big warehouse near the spaceport.
I thought they stored the Glunker furs there.
They don't use the warehouses to store things anymore.
No?
They need them for the people.
The people?
You haven't been on Boringwin since the Brotherhood movement?
I haven't been here for 16 months.
Well, you'll find that the people have moved into the warehouses now.
Well, what about the apartments? What about the homes?
They're used only for storage space.
I don't get it.
Look, we haven't got time to explain now. My partner and I have to get back to Central Control.
Well, maybe I'll go to try and find Nola.
Better take a companion.
What for?
They don't like soloists on Boringwin.
Since when?
Since brotherhood. No ladder has a single rung, you know.
So what?
It takes 100 pair of hands to build a house.
Okay.
A single pair is useless. Not only useless, but evil.
I don't get your drift.
All humanity is made up of many parts. Any part that wants to go off by itself hurts the main thing. What good would your hand be if a single finger suddenly decided to go off by itself?
Listen, is this a gag?
It's deadly serious.
Well, suppose I want to go off by myself.
We'll help you.
And suppose I don't want to be helped.
Then you're a trapper, a glunker. You'll be sent into the bush country where the other soloists are sent.
Holy smokes, this place has gone mad.
Are you coming with us?
Look, just suppose that I want to walk across the field to the warehouse by myself, all alone.
You can try. But you won't get 2 steps before they pick you up. Take our advice. Get a companion.
I let them take me over to the barracks. The place that used to be a warehouse. It was unbelievable. The place had been completely cleared of every wall, every partition. There, in front of my eyes, were 10,000 beds, cots, and mattresses spread out over the entire floor of the warehouse. The light was blinding. Huge floods and spots bathed every square inch. Nothing was concealed. Even the plumbing, showers, tubs, sinks were lined up against an open wall. The agents came in with me and stood at the door. A cluster of Bornwyn people waited in a roped-off area.
This is it.
Wow.
The customs personnel are in that third aisle, going north.
I'll walk down there. Thanks for the company.
It's a duty. Wait. I'll get you a companion. Anyone for the third aisle going north? Third aisle going north. Yeah. Here comes a man. He'll accompany you.
A small, frightened-looking man detached himself from the waiting group and went with me up the aisle of the warehouse. The sound, the smells were frightening. Thousands of people milling around. No privacy. Everyone terrified of being alone. I wondered how this had happened. Finally, after an hour of searching, I found my friend Nola.
So that's the way it is on Bornwyn now. Nobody seems to know just how it happened. Just seemed better to be with somebody all the time. Then nobody could accuse you of doing anything wrong.
But somebody must have started these accusations. Somebody must have put the fear into people.
I don't know. It started with the glunkers.
The fur trappers?
That's right. We began to hear things about them. That they were thieves, that they planned to take over the city. Just rumors, of course. And pretty soon, if you didn't like somebody, you called him a glunker. Then there were signs. No glunkers allowed. You know?
Oh, I saw some.
We began to hear about it on the televisor, and pretty soon they appointed a committee to investigate and find out if there was any truth to the rumors about the glunkers. It was headed by Mr. Costello.
Costello? Mr. Costello?
He's a big shot now. Owns half the city, I guess.
Well, it can't be the same one.
Yes, it is. I've seen him.
When did everybody move to the central warehouse?
When the police started picking up soloists, everybody began to move in together. Didn't take long. That's the strange thing. How little time it took. I talked to Nola for a while, then I couldn't take it any longer. I had to get out, to get away by myself. I found somebody who was going toward the exit, and after a while, we were standing outside the warehouse entrance.
I'm going south.
I'm going north to the spaceport.
Oh.
Tell me, does anybody travel alone?
Sometimes we take a chance on it. I guess I'll have to take a chance right now. I'll be late for my job if somebody doesn't come along soon.
Where do you work?
That orange building right across the street.
Would you like me to walk with you?
Oh, you'll just get stranded there. I'll make a run for it. The street looks clear.
Well, thanks for the company.
Not at all. So long.
Hey, mister, look out, that car. Look out! Why, you... Is he dead?
Yes, sir.
That was deliberate. I saw it.
Hello, Purser.
It's Mr. Costello.
Yes, I'm sorry about the accident. My chauffeur was...
He tried to run away.
That's what happens to soloists. If he'd had a companion to warn him, to thrust him out of the way. You understand that, don't you, Purser?
I don't know.
Climb into the car. You can't go wandering about Borrington alone.
Well,
Police will take care of the body. It's all right.
Okay, if you say so, Mr. Costello.
Drive to the spaceport.
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you think of our little planet?
Well,
I knew you'd like it. Just think of it, Purser. All humankind, a single unit. Yes, this is a people that has found the truth. It awes me. Makes me humble. Speak up, man. I'm your friend.
Well, I was going to say, I'm not sure I like it.
Well, take your time. Nobody has to make a man see the truth. Isn't that right?
Well...
That's right, isn't it?
Yes, I guess it is.
Fine. Yes, only the trappers refuse to see the truth.
Are they really dangerous?
Dangerous? They go out and spend weeks alone by themselves, don't they? Alone with their own evil thoughts.
Evil thoughts?
We all have them, you know. Even you. For example, you remember this?
Well,
Well, this should refresh your mind. Listen to this.
I take bribes from passengers.
Your voice, Purser, and a very evil thought, too.
But that isn't what I said.
That's what's on the tape, Purser. Now, then, I wouldn't use it against you, of course.
Mr. Costello, what is it you want from me?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, a minor favor, perhaps.
Go on.
Your ship is going back to Earth after it leaves Borrington.
Yes?
You will have a passenger.
I didn't know that.
To be exact, a mentally deranged man.
Who is he?
His name is Hines. He's been the Earth consul here on Borrington. He's been recalled to Earth to report.
You said he was mentally ill?
He is, but the Earth government doesn't know him.
Well, what can I possibly do?
I wouldn't want Mr. Hines to go back and tell them a lot of lies about what's happened on Borrington.
Well...
Purser, I want you to put this capsule into Mr. Hines's food.
What is it?
Sleeping potion.
You think I'm a murderer, Mr. Costello?
Purser, do you know what will happen if this tape recording of your voice is sent back to Earth? Do you know what they do to pursers who take bribes? You'll be court-martialed.
You'd use it?
Only in the interests of protecting our happy society. Now then, will you see that Mr. Hines is properly sedated? You can get 10 years of Uranus. Well, Purser?
Give me the capsule.
Good. Right over to the ship, driver.
The first day out, the Earth Council, Mr. Hines, was in his cabin, and I brought him his dinner. He was a tense, nervous little man. Here's your dinner, sir.
Put it down, Steward.
Oh, I'm the purser, sir. The steward's ill, and I'm helping out.
I see. Do you know what's happened on Borrington?
I was only there a few hours, Mr. Hines.
Let me tell you, then. You won't believe it. Nobody will believe it. First, it was a little wedge, driven in the one place it might exist between the city people and the trappers, the glunkers. Suddenly, the glunkers were a menace. Then came the changes. You didn't have to prove that a glumper had done anything. You just had to prove he was a glunker. It all happened so fast. Pretty soon you were afraid to be alone for a second. There was a man named Costello. He came from Earth.
I know him.
You know him?
He went to Borrington on this ship.
Then you must be the one.
The one? Which one?
Who testified against your captain for the court-martial.
What?
There was a tape recording, your voice and the voice of the third officer. Costello had them.
He used them to send the skipper to Uranus? I didn't know.
You must have known. What's happened to us? What's happened? What?
I got him into his bunk and gave him a sedative. Then I took away the food I'd fixed for him. I still had Costello's poison capsule in my pocket. I went down to the radio room and sent a message to Earth headquarters. 2 days later, we landed. Mr. Hines told his story and I told mine. I showed them the poison capsule and told them what had happened to the skipper and about the tape recorder. Within 24 hours, a task force of the Earth fleet was on its way to Boranguen. It wasn't much of a battle, they tell me. The Boranguen army didn't have its heart in it. That was, 20 years ago, I guess. About Mr. Costello? I met him again last week, right here on Earth. Funny thing, I was sitting in Central Park on a bench.
Well, if it isn't the purser.
I'm sorry, I don't believe...
Look closer. Don't you recognize me?
No, Why, Mr. Costello. I thought
You thought I was on Uranus? I was. I served 20 years. Mind if I sit down?
It's a free Earth.
You know, I'm glad I ran into you. I think you may be just the man that I need.
Need?
Yes. Let me show you something. Here, in this pouch. Recognize these?
They're just live ants.
Exactly. Let me dump them out on the ground.
Won't they crawl away?
They'll come back. Watch. You see, I put a little piece of this bread in the pouch, and I lay it on the ground. See how they crawl back?
Yes, all except that one. He's interested in that dead caterpillar.
Yes. You see, about 1 in 30, I discovered, will eat something different. Break away from the pack.
So what?
Don't you see, man? If we can find a way to make the others turn on that 1 in 30, if we can make the bread eaters think that the caterpillar eaters are dangerous...
They're not dangerous. They're just different.
What's the difference? Just so we can get the bread eaters scared enough. They'll turn on the others.
And then?
And then we can make them do anything that we want. You see what I'm driving at? If you think of these ants as people... Well, where are you going?
I'm leaving, Mr. Costello.
Why? Doesn't what I say make sense?
Yes, it does, Mr. Costello, except for one thing.
What is that?
I'm no ant. So long, Mr. Costello.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Claustrophile, an unusual story by Theodore Sturgeon, which turns common sense completely around and plumps it down squarely on its feet. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Mr. Costello Hero, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Theodore Sturgeon and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Wendell Holmes, Mandel Kramer, Bob Hastings, Joe DeSantis, Terry Keane, James Stevens, James Dukas, and Raymond Edward Johnson. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Follow the news with Chet Huntley tonight on NBC Radio.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, after a hard day's work, there's nothing more welcome than an evening of variety entertainment. That's just the tonic provided tomorrow night by NBC Radio. You'll laugh your cares away when good-natured contestants carry out the rib-tickling stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey on NBC's Truth or Consequences. Later on, Groucho Marx peps things up with lots of spontaneous good fun and more of the friendly insults at which he is so accomplished. For a brighter, livelier evening tomorrow night, it's Groucho Marx and Truth or Consequences on this station. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus one.
Tonight, Bad Medicine by Finn O'Donovan. But first, farmers know they can't stop storms, floods, or droughts from ruining a crop. But they can make sure things like that can't ruin them by investing in United States savings bonds. Not only farmers, but over 40 million Americans in all sorts of jobs own 40 billions of savings bonds. And why? Because savings bonds are the easy way to start saving and to keep saving. And the money you invest in savings bonds mean protection now and ready cash when you need it in the future. Improving the farm, sending the youngsters to college, or planning your own retirement. These are the big things you can be ready for with savings bonds. And besides offering you a safe investment, each Series E savings bond pays you back $4 at maturity for every $3 you invest. Yes, you earn extra dollars while you save, so start saving now. For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds. And now, on with our story.
On May 2nd, 2103, Elwood Caswell walked rapidly down Broadway. It was a gentle, misty spring day, and the air held the smell of rain and blossoming trees. But Elwood Caswell didn't smell the rain and the trees. He just gripped the loaded gun he had in his pocket. He didn't want to use the weapon, but he was certain that he would. This was justifiable. You see, Elwood Caswell was a homicidal maniac.
Why shouldn't I kill him?
Hey, look out, will you?
Oh, sorry, sir. Only the other day he said to me, Elwood, you're looking very well. What business is it of his how I look?
Hey there, Elwood. Elwood.
Huh?
It's me, Marty Klein. I work on the jet buses with you, remember?
Oh, yeah, of course. Hello, Marty. Forgive me, my mind was on other things.
Yeah, I know how it is. A couple of weeks ago, I was walking around a fog so thick you could cut it.
Yeah, really?
Sure. Preoccupied, you know. I had this idea in my mind.
You too?
Yeah.
The same person?
Huh?
Were you troubled by the same person?
My wife. Hey, you okay?
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course.
Well, I had this idea, see? I was going to get rid of my wife.
Kill her?
Kill her? I mean, send her to a country for a week.
Oh.
You sure you ain't sick?
No, I never felt better.
Well, anyway, I was going to take a week off. Quit the jet buses. Hey, can you imagine? I've been a jet bus operator for 10 years now, and all of a sudden, I feel like I can't take it for another minute.
I know how you feel.
And I was going to take a trip all by myself.
A trip?
To where? To the farthest place I could think, to Mars. I was just going to pick up and take a vacation on Mars. Silly, huh?
I don't know. What happened?
Well, I talked it over with Ethel.
Your wife?
Yeah. Ethel, she's a real sensible girl. You know what she did?
No, am I supposed to?
Well, Ethel went right down to that home therapy appliance store, and she says, you got a home therapy machine that'll cure my husband of this idea he can't stay on the jet buses?
I've heard that those machines aren't perfected.
They got him licked now. So, okay, she describes the trouble, and next day they deliver this thing, and boom, I plug it in, see?
And?
And a voice talks to me. It starts asking me questions.
Yeah, what kind of questions?
All kinds. Things I wouldn't even tell my own mother.
You told the machine?
Why not? It's only a machine.
Yeah, I see your point.
Well, then the machine starts to tell me a few things. And before I knew it, inside a week, I'm cured. Now, I can't wait to go back driving the jet buses.
You don't say.
So that's why I say I know how it is to have one thing on your mind all the time like that.
This machine, what did it cost you?
That's the beauty part of it. My Ethel. Boy, she's a smart girl. After a week, she sends it back, see? She says it don't work. So all we lose is the deposit.
I see.
Well, I got to get back to work now. Hey, Ain't you working the jet buses today?
Huh? No, I'm off today.
Well, I'll see you, Elwood.
Yeah, see you, Marty. What was the name of that place?
Where they sell the home therapy machines.
Yeah.
Home therapy appliances. It's right down Broadway, about 2 blocks from here. So long, Elwood.
Perspiring freely, Elwood Caswell continued down Broadway toward 43rd Street. His friend Magnuson would be finishing work soon, returning to his apartment less than a block from Caswell's. Elwood gripped the gun tighter. How pleasant it would be to saunter in, exchange a word with him, and then...
No, I won't do it. I don't really want to kill anybody. It isn't right. Think what'll happen. The authorities will lock me up. My friends won't understand, and... Mother would never approve. Still, if I see Magnuson, if I see his hateful, accusing face in front of me... Oh, this must be the store. Yeah. Home therapy appliances.
Good afternoon, sir. Can I show you some of our home therapy appliances?
I want therapy. Quick.
Of course, sir. This way, please. Now then, this is our new alcoholic reliever built by International Combustion Motors and advertised in leading magazines. A handsome piece of furniture. I think you will agree, and not out of place in any home. It also opens into a television set.
Look, what I need...
Therapy, of course. I just want to point out this model need never cause embarrassment to you, your friends, or your loved ones. Notice, if you will, the recessed dial which controls the desired degree of alcoholism. You see, heavy, moderate, social, light, and teetotal. A new feature unique in mechanotherapy.
I'm not alcoholic. The New York Jet Bus Authority does not hire alcoholics.
Oh, sorry. You seem the type. No offense.
Please.
You seem rather nervous. Perhaps the portable anxiety reducer.
No.
Well, sir, perhaps if you told me just what you feel is bothering you.
What have you got for homicidal mania?
I beg your pardon.
Homicide? The urge to kill someone.
Oh, of course. Well, let's see now.
Pardon me. Have you worked here very long?
A week. Oh, yes, here's the ticket. This black job with the chrome trim.
What is it?
This, is a Rex regenerator, built by Planetary Motors Corporation. Handsome, Goes with any decor, opens into a well-stocked little bar, so your family, friends, loved ones need never...
Well, is your homicidal urge a strong one?
Oh, absolutely. Don't confuse this with the little 10-amp Neurosis model. This is a hefty, heavy-duty 25-amp machine for really deep-rooted conditions.
That's what I've got.
Well, this baby will jolt you out of it. Big, heavy-duty thrust bearings, oversized heat absorbers, completely insulated, sensitivity range over...
I'll take it.
Yes, sir.
With me, right now.
Now?
Before it's too late. I'll pay cash.
Well, yes, sir. It'll be a few hours before the warehouse can...
I'll take this one here.
Well, that's a floor demonstrator.
Does it work?
All of our demonstrators work, sir.
Then I'll take it. I can't wait for a warehouse. I can't wait for anything. Have it put in a taxi for me.
Yes, sir.
Tell him to hurry. I want to kill my friend Magnuson, you know.
Who?
My friend, Magnuson.
Oh, of course. That'll be $400.59, sales tax included.
After Elwood Caswell left the store, the clerk, whose name was Haskins, smiled to himself and lighted a cigarette. He had made his first sale. He inhaled.
Haskins?
Yes, Mr. Follansby?
Smoking. I asked you to rid yourself of that filthy habit.
Immediately, Mr. Follansby. I'll use one of the display model denicotinizers at once. By the way, I just made a rather good sale, sir.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. One of our big Rex regenerators.
Well, now, it isn't often we... Wait a minute. Where's the floor model?
Well, sir, the customer was in an awful hurry. He was going to kill his friend.
You gave him the floor model?
Yes, sir. Was there any reason why...
Oh, grief, Haskins. Didn't I inform you we never sell a floor model?
But, sir...
Good heavens, I've got to get to him. What was his address?
Address?
His name, then.
Well, he didn't say.
Then his check.
But he paid cash.
You mean you just let him pick up the machine and walk out?
Well, sir, he paid cash.
He was homicidal, you say?
Yes, sir. His friend...
I don't care about his friend. Get the police. No. Call the Planetary Motor Security Division. Quick.
Yes, at once.
Well.
Excuse me, Mr. Follansby. What will I tell them?
Just tell them, you fool. Tell them that one of our customers has accidentally got that display regenerator they sent us. The one they shipped by accident. They were going to replace it tomorrow.
Yes, sir. The one they shipped by accident. Will they know?
If they don't be more explicit, tell them we've sold the Martian model. The one for treating psychotic Martians.
Meanwhile, Elwood Caswell had returned to his apartment and lugged the big black Rex regenerator into his living room. He put it down near the couch and studied it carefully.
He was right. It does go with the room. Now then, let's see those instructions. Place regenerator near a comfortable couch. All right. Plug in machine. There. Affix contact band to your forehead. That's all there is to it. Just turn on the machine and it will do the rest. There will be no language problem since your regenerator communicates with you by direct sensory contact, patent pending. Well, that seems easy enough. Now, I'll just put the contact on my head. And blast it. Hello?
Elwood?
Yes?
This is Henry. Henry Magnuson. How are you, old boy?
I'm fine.
I wondered if you were doing anything tonight. Thought you might like to drop over for a game of chess.
Game of chess, huh? You stupid oaf.
What?
Nothing.
I thought you called me a stupid oaf.
Yeah, just talking to my cat.
Oh. I didn't remember you had a cat. I thought you hated cats.
Oh, I do. This isn't really mine. It's a neighbor's. It keeps coming in.
Oh. Well, what about tonight?
Will you be alone?
Well, yeah.
You haven't mentioned to anyone that you're inviting me over?
Not a soul. Why?
Someone's looking for me, a process server.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been avoiding him for days. I don't even leave word where I'll be when I go out.
You can trust me, Elwood. I'm your best friend.
Yes, you are. But not for long.
Huh?
Just talking to the cat again.
Oh. Well, will you be over?
Yeah.
In about an hour, okay?
Yeah, an hour will be fine. There are a few things I have to do
I just
first.
gotten some new laugh records from the boys at the office. I got something here that'll really kill you. So long, Elwood.
So long. I've got something here that'll kill you, too.
X-1 will continue in 1 minute.
Each of us has a personal reason for wanting to see cancer conquered. Steve Allen would like to tell you his.
I have a wife and 3 wonderful kids. And when I think about cancer going to strike one American in every 4, well, that's more than enough reason for wanting to see it conquered. I know that some people don't even want to think about cancer. But pretending it's not a threat, doing an ostrich routine, isn't going to get us anywhere. We've got to stand up to it and fight. We can fight, each and every one of us. Through the American Cancer Society, we can be part of the battle that someday will beat cancer once and for all. That day will come, but you and I have got to help. How about it?
Thank you, Steve Allen. Remember, fight cancer with a checkup and a check. See your doctor once a year for a checkup. It's your best cancer insurance. And to help conquer cancer, send a check to your unit of the American Cancer Society. Make it generous.
And now, on with our story.
Taking the revolver from his pocket, Elwood laid it on the table in front of him. His face became suffused with hatred at the thought of Magnuson. He poked at the gun with a stiff forefinger.
Magnuson, you no-good, shifty-eyed enemy of all that's decent in the world. The man who ruined my sister Irene. The man who... Wait a minute, Elwood. You have no sister, remember? No sister. Now, before you go off and commit murder, why not just try that machine just once, huh? Turn it on. Okay, now reach over and...
Good afternoon, Elwood. I am your mechanical therapist. You may call me Gloop.
Gloop?
You seem surprised. It is a perfectly common name here on this planet.
Gloop, of course. I've heard it many times.
Now then, I am scanning the material in your preconscious with the intent of synthesis, diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment.
Yes?
I find... This is a most unusual case.
Really? I thought it was simple homicidal mania.
There is, of course, no such thing. You are obviously hallucinating a set of symptoms. Nonsense syllables to enable you to avoid the real problem.
Oh?
A most unusual set of symptoms, I must say.
Your pilot light seems to be fading.
My light is not fading. I am merely trying to relate your symptoms to proven theory.
Well, as long as you know what you're doing.
Mechanotherapy is an exact science, Elwood. It admits of no significant errors. We will proceed.
Good.
First, the word association test.
Fire away.
I will proceed to give a word. You answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Ready.
House.
Home.
Planet.
Earth.
Just musing. Now, Fleeful.
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 That sounds like a Martian word.
Just give me a response.
Fleeful, Okay. I can make 'em up, too. Marfouche. That's a pretty good one, huh? Made it up in the spur of the moment.
Marfouche is very significant. It is a corruption of the Martian concept of fush klib. Very significant.
I don't know any Martian words.
Aha, noteworthy. We will proceed. Loud.
Soft.
Green.
Mother.
Thanagoyus.
Pathamathunga. How's that one?
Anides.
Nexothesmodrassica. Top that.
Catif of snow-hell Gnoptices.
Okay. Rigmarole, Kalamazoo, Iggity-bibbity-boo.
Good. It fits the pattern.
Pattern?
Your neurosis. I can diagnose it now.
Go on.
You have a classic case of theme desire, complicated by strong dwarkish intentions.
I could have sworn I was homicidal.
The term has no referent. It must be rejected as nonsense. Now, if you'll just settle back on the couch, we'll proceed.
At precisely this moment, a tall, gnarled, ugly man pushed his way through the doors of Home Therapy Appliances. His clothing, unpressed and uncaring, hung on him like corrugated iron. When the clerk, Hoskins, approached him, he flipped back his lapel to show a small silver badge underneath.
Sir?
John Rath, Planetary Motor Security Division.
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Follinsby, Mr. Follinsby.
Yes, sir. Hello, Follinsby.
Mr. Rath,
Well?
So far we haven't a single lead.
You certainly never mentioned his name?
Oh, yes, sir.
Now think. Is there anything significant?
Is it serious, Mr. Rath?
Mr. Follinsby, this man is homicidal.
Won't it treat him?
Homicide is unknown on Mars. It'll treat him for the most likely Martian sickness.
What would that be?
Theme desire, Mr. Follinsby.
Theme desire?
It's a Martian illness in which the victim feels cursed by the tree-like nourishing parent, although, of course, Martians don't have parents in the ordinary sense. Well, Haskins?
I remember one thing. He mentioned he was a jet bus operator for the New York Jet Bus Authority.
Ah.
One other thing.
Yes?
I believe, yes, he was alcoholic.
An alcoholic jet bus operator. Excellent. It'll be on his records. Get the Jet Bus Authority at once.
But surely, Elwood, you remember your Gorisy.
No.
Tell me then about your juvenile experiences with the Forrestrian fleet.
Never had one.
Complete blockage.
My father...
There is no such thing, of course.
But...
I thought we'd finally agreed on that.
Okay, if you say so.
Now then, since you claim you don't even know what a Gorisy is, tell me what you imagine it to be.
A forest fire. A salt tablet? A small screwdriver? Am I getting warm? A revolver? What the heck is a Gorisy?
Why, the tree that nourished you into puberty.
No tree nourished me.
You have completely repressed the experience.
No tree ever nourished me.
Mr. Caswell, let me try to explain your case as best I can. Somewhere in your childhood, your Gorisy, or parent tree, stifled your theme desire. Now, this gave rise to your present urge to dwark someone in a Flendish manner.
To what?
To dwark someone in a Flendish manner.
Listen, you crummy piece of hardware. I have never had a Gorisy. I have no desire to dwark someone in a Flendish manner or any other manner. All I want to do is put a bullet into Herbert Magnuson. Understand? All I want to do is kill Magnuson.
Lie down, Mr. Caswell. We'll go over it again.
My dear man, I'm not trying to insinuate that the Jet Bus Authority hires alcoholics. If you will just...
Any luck?
It's a dead end. Now, Haskins.
Yes, sir.
A man's life may be at stake here. Now think. Was there anything else this fellow said to you? Anything?
Well, he did mention the name of his friend.
Of which friend?
The one he was going to kill.
The one he... Why didn't you say so? Now, what was it?
Magnuson.
You sure?
That's it. He said, I'm going to kill Magnuson. You know, just casually like that.
Follinsby, see if there's a Magnuson in the Manhattan phone book. Now, hurry it up.
Yes, Mr. Caswell, you were saying?
Well...
Something about your Goracy?
Yes, I was saying I think perhaps you're right.
Naturally. But right about what, Mr. Caswell?
Well, I think perhaps... Yes, I think perhaps I do remember my Goracy.
Ah! Now, Mr. Caswell, we're on the road to a cure.
Mr. Magnuson?
Yes?
Do you know a short, angry-looking, red-haired man?
I might.
Thank heaven.
Or I might not.
Can you tell us where to locate him?
You're a process server, huh?
Certainly not.
Don't kid me.
Mr. Magnuson, this man is trying to kill you.
Go on, you're full of happy pills. Elwood's my best friend.
Elwood?
He loves me like a brother. And if you think I'm going to stick some process server onto
Mr.
him...
Magnuson, I'm not a process server. Your friend Elwood is a psychopathic killer. You're his intended victim. Can you get that through your thick skull? I'm trying to save your life.
Yes.
You're Elwood Caswell?
Yes.
The Elwood Caswell who bought a Rex regenerator early this afternoon?
Yes. Won't you come in?
Thank you. My name is Rath, Planetary Motors.
Nice to meet you.
Have you used the machine?
Oh, yes.
I see. Mr. Caswell, I don't know how to explain this, but we made a terrible mistake. The regenerator you took was a Martian model for giving therapy to Martians.
I know.
You do?
Yes, it became pretty obvious after a while.
Well, it was a dangerous situation, especially for a man in your condition.
Yes, the poor thing tried its best, but of course it couldn't cure what wasn't there.
Well, then the company will, of course, reimburse you for your lost time and your mental anguish.
Naturally.
And we will substitute a regular human-type regenerator.
Oh, that won't be necessary. You see...
Mr. Caswell, will you put down that gun? I warn you.
I'm not going to shoot you. I merely want to turn this gun over to you.
You do?
Yes, I'm not going to shoot anybody.
You mean that...
The machine's attempt at therapy forced me to reappraise my whole self. There was an insight during which I was able to get rid of my obsession.
You no longer want to kill your friend Magnuson?
Kill Magnuson? Why, I haven't the faintest urge.
Well, I must say, then, that it worked out for the best. I'll get back to the store and have him pick up this machine in an hour, and... Oh, well, sir...
don't forget to take this gun. I won't need it.
Of course. Well, nice to have met you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Did you hear that? He asked me if I still intended to kill Magnuson. Magnuson, that inhuman monster who cut down my Goracy. Magnuson, the man who even now is secretly planning to infect New York with abhorrent fiend desire. Am I going to kill him? Oh, no. I wish him a long life, a life filled with the torture I can now inflict on him. Kill Magnuson? Oh, no. I'm going to start right now to work him in a Wendish manner.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Honorable Opponent by Clifford D. Simak, the story of an Earth general with the distasteful assignment of meeting a delegation of unmilitary clowns who arrive as conquerors. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. In a moment, tonight's cast and a preview of next week's exciting drama.
They took the blue from the skies, and the pretty girls' eyes, and the touch of old glory pure, and gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force. We are men with a dream of America's team. We're a rugged and ready crew. And you can bet your boots the world looks up to U.S. Air Force Blue. To U.S. Air Force Blue. We know where we're going. We set our course. The sky's no limit in the Air Force. They took the blue from the skies and the pretty girls' eyes and the touch of old glory's hue, and gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force blue. We proudly wear the blue, the U.S. Air Force blue.
Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Bad Medicine, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Finn O'Donovan and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Cliff Carpenter, Bill Britton, Alan Manson, Charles Webster, Carl Weber, and Joseph Julian. Norman Rose was heard as the machine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Bob Maurer and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Weekday, the companion and advisor to America's women, offers a new informative series on childbirth. It's the actual case history of a young wife, following her through the late stages of pregnancy, childbirth, and postnatal care. You'll attend the childbirth courses offered at New York's Mount Sinai Hospital, and even enter the delivery room for the actual birth of the child. Listen tomorrow for the real-life series, The Story of Birth. Then, on the same program, listeners can also enjoy more women's specialties, Kitchen Hints by Charlotte Adams, Child Care News with Dr. Francis Horwich, Vacation Ideas offered by Walter Kiernan, and another personal visit with your radio friend, Mary Margaret McBride. Don't forget the exciting dramatization each day from Taylor Caldwell's book, Tender Victory. Be sure to join Virginia Graham and Mike Wallace tomorrow on this NBC station. Follow the news with Chet Huntley tonight on NBC Radio.
When the Gregory yacht left Los Angeles in search of the Magic Island and Mrs. Gregory's long-lost little daughter, Joan, they anticipated plenty of trouble and were not long in finding it. They planned and executed one escape, only to be brought back to the strange island of Euclidia, where their position is now worse than ever, as they're confined in steel cells on one of the lower levels of this mad scientific colony. G47, master scientist and ruler of Euclidia, has just paid them a visit, not a pleasant one. Mrs. Gregory, Joan, Jerry, and Captain Bradford stand listening to a new threat. The signal to submerge the island of Euclidia is sounding, and with it, another signal which only Joan understands. Jerry, Tex, and Pat find it hard to believe Joan as she explains the second signal.
There's that blamed gong again.
The island will be moved.
You mean that, Joan? They will actually move this huge island?
Yes, Mother.
Well, golly whiskers.
That's a pretty big order, Joan. This island is 100 feet high and several hundred feet in diameter.
And it weighs more than 1 million tons. Yet it will be moved. It is moving now.
Well, how do they move it?
There are immense cantilever-activated units of the worldly articulated caterpillar type, which simply progress slowly but steadily along the ocean floor.
An island that weighs 1 million tons walking around on the floor of the ocean? This is a nightmare.
Yet it's real. Horribly real. I can feel a steady vibration now. The entire place seems to be rocking gently from side to side.
That is a fair layman's description of the action.
Oh, yeah? Well, a layman's description is plenty good enough for me now. I don't need a lot of scientific languages to tell me that we're sunk.
We are not sunk, Jerry. We are submerged.
Well, sunk or submerged, we're underwater just the same, and I'm no fish.
I know how you feel, Jerry. We don't seem to be able to do very much about it. So let's try to take it as calmly as we can.
But, Tex, this means the end of everything. When the island is moved, our position is changed. No one will find us, and all of Johnson's work to bring aid will be lost.
That's about it, Pat.
Then there's nothing we can do.
Oh, Joan and I'll get you out of this. Don't worry about that.
Well, of course, we're glad to have your spirits so high, Jerry, and you have done a great deal. But do you know what you're going to do about this?
No, not yet. But I'll figure it out.
We'll all work on it, Jerry, and something surely must come out of it.
Jerry and I were fortunate in discerning certain possibilities on our tour of the island previous to our recent ill-fated escape attempt. Perhaps we could do as well if the attempt were repeated, though our activities would of necessity be directed along different lines.
She means that we can try it again, but we'll have to get a new angle.
Oh, thank you, Jerry.
Got any ideas, Joan?
Nothing of value at the moment, but Jerry and I may be able to discover something. May we go and carefully observe everything in this portion of the island?
You may be running into danger, dear.
How? We're locked in this little bunch of steel rooms. How are we going to get hurt any more by looking around than we would by just standing still?
I think Jerry's right, Pat. Let them go. They did all right for us before. And if they can't get out, nothing can get in to hurt them.
Don't stay away too long, will you?
Oh, it won't take us long to look this little place over. And we'll be back as soon as we find anything that looks like news.
Do not worry, Mother. We will return soon.
That's funny.
What, Tex?
That hollow echo of their steps on the steel floor, but the echoes are gone from the rest of the room.
Why, yes, so they are. Our voices are perfectly normal.
Yet the steps continue to echo. Oh, this is certainly a weird island.
Tex, now that the children are out of hearing, what do you really think about our chances?
Not any too good, Pat.
In fact, hopeless.
No, Pat, it isn't quite that bad.
Oh, yes, it is. You might as well admit it. They've locked us in these steel apartments, in one of the lower levels, and taken our homing pigeons, without our only means of communication, and locked up in a steel room below the surface of the sea. What possible chance could we have?
We escaped before, didn't we?
Yes, from the surface of the island, with the help of our pigeons, and Johnson, and another boat.
Yes, and Johnson is still free. He must be nearly to Los Angeles by this time, and our rescue may be only a matter of days or weeks at the most.
There's no reason to try to deceive me, Tex. We're all in this together. You and Jerry are in the same hopeless position just because you wanted to help me. And even Joan is in danger because of my attempt to take her back to our world. She was comparatively happy here with these Euclideans until we came. She knew nothing of our world, and her mother was only a name to her. Now we've brought to her all the promise of the love and brightness in our world, the promise that it would one day become her world, and we can't make good on that. It's rather a miserable failure, Tex, for all of us, and it's all my fault.
Now, Pat, that's no way to talk. Look how Jerry and Joan keep their heads up. They know as much about the danger here as we do. Surely we can do as well as those kids.
Oh, Jerry's fine. He's been such a help and comfort to me. But I promised his father that I'd take care of him. Take care of him by getting him imprisoned under the sea in an artificial island, peopled by mad scientists. Why, take care of him.
Stop that. You're not going to help things by going to pieces. We'd better be putting all our energy on some plan to get out of this place.
Oh, but it's all so hopeless.
We haven't even tried to get out since they put us in these steel cells. We haven't studied the old sailor's diary.
You're right. That diary may contain something of value to us.
No doubt of that, after the old man tried so hard to get it to us.
And where is the old man now?
Where is he? Why, he's... well...
Exactly.
But we have his diary, and it's supposed to contain a detailed description of nearly everything on this island.
He couldn't use that knowledge to make his own escape.
Pat, I've never known you to act just like this. You sound so absolutely hopeless about it all.
Oh, perhaps I'm overtired. I've never felt quite this hopeless before. I'm sorry, Tex. You've been so sweet all these years, waiting for me to find Joan, waiting for me to do this and that, and now... Oh, Tex, it looks as if we've waited too long.
Oh, nonsense, Pat. Keep your chin up. We'll get out of this somehow. You've been a very wonderful person through it all. 14 years of waiting for Joan, and now you have her. It's not right that we shouldn't get back to our world to enjoy our lesson. We will get back.
Mrs. Gregory?
Oh, is that Jerry?
Sounded like it.
Mother?
Yes, that was Joan.
Come here a minute.
Where are you?
Down at the end of the steel hall. Come on, take a look at what's happening here. Hurry up and come in, will you?
Coming, Jerry.
He doesn't sound as if anything serious was wrong. But it isn't. Jerry would be so impatient.
Now, Mother, you and the captain must not be too badly frightened by what Jerry and I have discovered.
We mustn't what?
You two won't get scared if we show you something, will you?
What in the world has come over you, Jerry? Captain Bradford and I are not apt to be frightened by anything you take so calmly. What is it?
It may be of great moment to all of us, and it may be a mental enlargement of a minute accidental circumstance brought about by our proximity to countless things beyond the comfortable grasp of tired minds. In either event, it will avail us nothing to give it undue consideration.
Joan means we may be making a mountain out of whatever they make mountains out of, but she's afraid it's as bad as it looks.
Well, for heaven's sakes, Joan, what is all this?
You show them, Jerry. I will watch in the corridor.
No use doing that. Everything we're saying is being heard anyhow.
I expect that's true enough, but get on with it, kid. What stirred you all up?
Well, take a look on the floor, down here in the corner of this cell.
On the floor?
Yes, and if you look close, right up against that wall, you'll see where there's a little moisture coming in. Water or something. But it isn't any accident, I'll bet. See how steady it drops through that fine hole? Just as if the hole had been drilled there to let the water in.
Yes, I see it now.
But what could it mean?
It could mean a great many things, most of which I'd just as soon not think of now.
Well, I got an idea what it is. And that's the reason Joan and I didn't want to tell you about it at first.
If it's anything that important, we should know about it at once.
I'll say so. Come on, let's have it, Jerry, and hurry it up.
Well, Joan says that she heard some funny stories about people who had been put in these lower-level cells. Stories about water running into the place in a stream like this one, no bigger than a pinhole. And maybe it takes weeks or months or maybe a year. But finally the water gets so deep in here that you have to stand up to keep your head above it. And when you can't stand it anymore, you tell those crazy Euclideans whatever it is they want to know.
But, Jerry, you say Joan spoke of others who had been put down in here? And these rooms slowly flooded? Who were they?
There is no longer any need to worry about our conversation. You will note that our voices no longer echo. That would mean that the directional rays are focused upon our chambers, and everything we say or do will be heard and seen in the central communication chamber.
Well, as long as we can speak right out in meeting, I'd like to know a whole lot more about this water running in here on the floor.
You've heard something of it, Joan?
I have heard many discussions between G47 and his assistants relative to the prisoners in these cells. All of them were people of importance in the scientific world, or high officers in the armies and navies of countries of the orderly world. All of them had some secret that the Euclideans wanted to learn. And when this water would rise to the level of the prisoner's mouth, they would learn what they desired.
It wouldn't have to wait that long for me.
Joan, my dear, do you think we are being subjected to that punishment now in order to secure the captain's formula for the Euclideans?
I am sure of it, Mother. We will never be allowed to leave these rooms until G47 knows all there is to be known of the universal solvent.
About how long will it take to fill this room, Joe?
That I do not know, Captain. But it will take only a few hours for the water to lie on the floor to the depth of an inch in this room. And closing the room off will do no good, as the water will simply pass into the next room when it reaches the depth of 1 inch.
Oh, the sensible thing to do would be to give up my formula right now and take our chances on what they would do with us after that.
It might be just as well, Captain.
Now, don't you do it, Tex. We've still got plenty of time to figure some way out of this.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Jerry, though I must admit I haven't the faintest idea as to how to go about it.
But, Pat, you're all in danger.
Well, not as great danger as we would be once these Euclideans had taken all they wanted from us.
You're right, Mrs. Gregory. That formula is all they're saving us for, and let's hang on to it as long as we can.
Somebody knocking on the hall door.
That is strange. The Euclideans do not knock.
But no one except the Euclideans would have the freedom of these chambers.
You three stay where you are. I'll find out.
Oh, be careful, Tex.
Don't worry. I'll watch everything.
Something funny going on here. Notice how quickly the captain's steps stop making any noise?
No one on Euclidia ever knocks at a door. I do not like this.
Oh, you children are overly excited.
Well, maybe. But just the same. Hey, Tex! Tex! Captain Bradford!
Jerry, Tex doesn't answer. Do you think that...
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P-Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Today, Superman is faced with a serious situation involving the possible necessity of breaking the law in order to save the lives of two ex-GI victims of a bigoted political machine.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, with school starting, it won't be long before you fellows and girls will be going in for all kinds of school games and activities. And how are you going to show up at your best unless you eat a good breakfast? I mean, now's the time, more than ever, to pack a good bowl of Kellogg's Pep under your belt. Every single dish of Pep gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. And these crisp, delicate golden flakes of Pep taste so downright terrific that you'll want to eat hearty. They're so strictly delicious, they're fun to eat. And for an extra bonus of fun, just take a look inside your next package of Pep for your prize, your surprise prize, because you may find an exciting colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, easy and fun to assemble. There are 7 model planes you can collect. Or you may find one of 24 full-color bird pictures with a description to help you identify each of these birds when you see it. Or your Pep prize might be a bright-colored comic button picturing one of 18 famous characters straight out of the funnies to pin on your beanie cap or your jacket. Yes, all 3 kinds of Pep prizes are super. So ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, and look for your prize inside the package.
Now the adventures of Superman. Superman is face to face with the most difficult decision of his career. In the Metropolis Hospital, seriously wounded and near death, lies Joe Martin, war hero. In the state police jail is Sam Robbins, Joe's lifelong friend and war buddy, who is accused of shooting Joe during a GI demonstration at the state capitol. A demonstration against the governor, whom the veterans charge with practicing racial and religious discrimination in awarding state jobs. In his guise of Clark Kent, Superman has just learned that Joe Martin is asking for Sam, and that the doctor feels that Sam's presence at the bedside might save Joe's life. And so the Man of Steel has had to make a great decision, whether or not to violate the law and free Sam from jail. As we continue now, resolved to make one final effort on the side of law and order, Superman is streaked to State Police Headquarters, where we find him pleading with Sergeant Adams. Listen.
I never asked a favor before, Sergeant, but I'm asking one now in the name of justice and humanity. Parole Sam Robbins in my custody for 1 hour. I'll promise to bring him back.
I can't do it, Superman. We're holding Robbins on an assault warrant. And if Joe Martin dies, Robbins will be held for murder.
You'll be holding an innocent man.
I don't think you know the details of this case.
I know all about it.
And you still think he's innocent?
I'm sure he is. And if you let me take him to the hospital now, I may be able to prove it.
How?
Joe Martin is partially out of his coma, and he's been calling for Sam. The doctor thinks Sam's presence might pull him through the crisis.
Well, if you put it that way...
That's the way it is. Besides, I promised to bring Sam back here within 1 hour. Have you ever heard of Superman breaking his word?
Oh, no, of course not. You've been a tremendous help to the police.
Then what do you say?
Okay.
Good boy, Sergeant.
Come on down to the cell block with me.
Right.
Come on, Hogan. Get that cell door open.
There's something wrong with the lock, Sergeant. I've been meaning to report it, but... drat it. Key broke off in the lock.
Oh, great. Now what do? It'll be an hour before we can get a locksmith here.
Just my luck.
Relax, Sam. I'll have you out in a jiffy. Mind if I bend a couple of these bars, Sergeant? I'll bend them back as soon as Sam steps out.
Bend the bars?
Well, yes. Quite simple. See?
Leaping mackerel. Break them iron bars like they was pudding.
Well, come on, Sam. Don't stand there with your mouth open. Move.
Sorry, that trick kind of floored me. Me, too.
Now, I'll just bend these bars back like this.
It's alive. He did it again.
Okay, let's go, Sam.
Leaving State Police Headquarters, Superman picks Sam Robbins up in his arms. Then, up, and away! Leaping high into the air, the Man of Steel rockets across the great city to the Metropolis Hospital, where he sets Sam Robbins down and disappears. A few minutes later, once more in his guise and garb of Clark Kent, he noiselessly enters the room where Joe Martin lies. His voice weak and babbling, Joe speaks to Sam Robbins, who sits at the bedside, tears streaming unashamedly down his cheeks. Dr. Mitchell motions for Kent to approach. A nurse stands by alertly.
You're here, aren't you, Sam? You're here, beside me.
Sure, Joe. Sure, I'm right here.
Those Japs and those mortars. I thought you were going to get it that time.
Those nips get me? What's the matter with you, Joe? You know they haven't got our numbers.
No, I guess not. I guess...
You think we're back on Iwo Jima. We got cut off there on the beach, just the two of us. And some Jap mortars had us spotted and were heaving them over. Joe got hit in the leg and he couldn't run, so I had to go in after those Japs. Well, it wasn't anything.
Oh, no?
No. Joe thought sure I got it, and that's...
Sam!
Yeah, Joe, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sleepy. I think I'll take a nap. You'll stick around, won't you?
Yeah, sure. You go to sleep, kid. I'll be right here.
Yeah. Oh.
Doctor! Doc! Joe's gone.
No, he's not. He's lost consciousness again, but as a matter of fact, his pulse is stronger than it was before.
Oh, you mean it, Doc? You're not kidding me.
Yes, I mean it. Your visit has helped him tremendously. I can't say for certain yet, but I really think he has a good chance to recover now.
Oh, that's wonderful, Doctor.
He better recover. He better. If he doesn't, I swear I'll get the guy who shot him. I swear I will if I have to come back from the grave to do it.
Easy, Sam, easy.
I'll have to ask you gentlemen to leave now. I'll take you to the door.
Okay. Come on, Sam.
I know, Mr. Kent. Back to jail.
Yes, but just for a little while.
Yeah, you hope.
As Clark Kent escorts Sam Robbins back to jail, then leaves to resume his search for the unknown person who shot Joe Martin, a much different scene is taking place in the governor's office at the state capitol building. There, immaculately groomed, a fresh pink carnation in his buttonhole, big George Latimer, the state political boss, removes a cigar from his mouth and smiles at Governor Frank Wheeler.
What are you looking so worried about, Frank? Everything's going fine.
Fine? Are you kidding?
No, of course not.
Well, you must be. Have you forgotten that veterans' demonstration here yesterday? Have you forgotten that one of the veterans, Joe Martin, was shot on the Capitol steps?
Of course I haven't forgotten. That's why I say everything's going fine.
I don't understand.
Look, the veterans are a nuisance because they want jobs. We don't want to give them any.
You mean you don't? You handle the patrons.
All right, I don't. Because those jobs are for the party boys. Fellows who get the voters to the poll and get them to vote our way. Those are the fellows who got you elected governor, Frank.
I know. What are you driving at?
Just this. We don't have to worry anymore about the veterans putting up a stink. They fixed themselves yesterday.
Fixed themselves? How?
When Sam Robbins shot Joe Martin. You see, Robbins is a foreigner.
No, he isn't. He's an American citizen. He fought in the war. Even got a couple of decorations.
So what? He's a Jew, isn't he?
Well, yes, but...
To us, he's a foreigner. So are a lot of other veterans at that demonstration. Catholics and hunkies and Italians and Negroes. Dirty foreigners, all of them.
That's not true, George, and you know it.
Of course it's not true. Plenty of suckers believe it, and that's all we care about. So we show them a Jew who shoots his best friend who's a Protestant. That's the kind of guy who wants a state job for himself and for other foreigners like him.
But Sam Robbins doesn't want a state job.
Plenty of newspapers who think our way, like the Daily Clarion, say Robbins does want a state job. And that he's the leader of these foreign veteran punks. That makes the job-hunting veterans look bad. We don't have to worry about them anymore. You get it?
Yes, I think I do. It's kind of dirty, George.
Dirty? No, it's just smart politics. Relax, Frank. All your troubles are over.
Yes? What is it, Briggs?
Excuse me, sir, but this telephone message just came from Mr. Latimer. Party said it was urgent.
Me? Let's have it, Briggs.
Here you are, sir. Will that be all?
Yes, thanks. Good Lord. No.
What is it, George?
Bad news, Frank. Bad news for me and for you.
His florid face paling, big George Latimer reads the message again, as if hoping his eyes deceived him. What is in the message? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so stand by.
Say, gang, isn't it swell to know that you can collect not just one prize, but 49 different top-notch prizes right in packages of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal? Sure, you'll find a prize in every package. And there are 3 different kinds of prizes you may find there. For instance, you may find one of 18 different comic strip buttons, each picturing a favorite comic strip character. Or you may find a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 exciting plane models in the series. Or you may get a beautiful full-color bird picture from a series of 24, each with a description so that you can make like you're a bird expert from way back. That makes 49 different prizes you can collect. And that's only a part of the fun in Kellogg's Pep. Think of the good eating fun in those crisp whole wheat flakes, all crammed with keen, catchy flavor. I mean, Pep's delicious, a prize in itself. Yes, sir, a dish of Pep the Sunshine cereal is strictly on the terrific side. So speak to Mom about it today. Ask her to get you a supply of Kellogg's Pep from the grocer first thing tomorrow. And remember, look for your prize inside each package of Pep.
In Governor Wheeler's office in the state capitol, a message has just been delivered to Big George Latimer, the state political boss. Latimer pales as he reads it.
This is bad news, Frank. Bad news for me and for you.
Well, what is it, George?
In the Metropolis Hospital. Told them to keep me posted on Joe Martin's condition. They say Martin has passed the crisis and should recover.
Well, that's fine. Why do you call it bad news?
You fool. Didn't I just tell you the only way we can get those veterans punks off our necks is by making them look bad?
Why, yes, but, well, they still look bad, don't they? Robbins shot Martin, and even if Martin recovers...
You say Robbins didn't shoot him.
But I thought you said you saw him pull a gun and it was found in his house.
So what?
Wait a minute, Ed. Do you mean you didn't see him pull a gun?
What's the difference whether I saw him or not? I said so, didn't I? Everybody believed it. It's bad, Frank. You've got to do something. Do it fast.
But quiet.
Got to think. Yeah. I've got it. Get Briggs in here. Hurry.
His pale, malicious eyes gleaming, Big George Latimer paces the governor's office as he formulates a swift and evil plan to strike against decency. What does he intend to do? And how will it affect our friends? Tomorrow's episode is tense with action and excitement, gang, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Hey, gang, here's a winner in your list of famous names. It's Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Kellogg, as in Kellogg shredded wheat. What a treat for breakfast. Plump, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right. Full of natural nut-sweet flavor, too. And are they crisp? And here's what else you get in Kellogg shredded wheat. Grand whole wheat nutrition. Biscuits made to fit the bowl. And 15 biscuits in every package. Tell Mom you'd like Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Did you have too many Easter eggs today? Dreaming about that vacation you can't take yet? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. You are groping your way slowly through the dark hold of a ship at sea, moving carefully, step by step, searching intensely for something you dread to find, because you know that this ship carries a cargo of death.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, at your request, we bring back one of our most popular escape stories. We escaped to a harbor front in Venezuela, and a grim voyage which started from there, as told by Martin Storm in his gripping tale, A Shipment of Mute Fate.
Stopped on the wharf at La Guaira, looked up the gangplank toward the liner Chancay, standing there quietly at a mooring. The day was warm under a bright tropic sun. The harbor beyond the ship lay drowsy and silent. But all at once, in the midst of those peaceful surroundings, a cold chill gripped me, and I shivered with sudden dread. Dread of the thing I was doing and was about to do. Too much had happened to turn back now. I'd gone too far to stop. I set the box down on the edge of the wharf, placed it carefully so as to be in plain sight, and within gunshot of the captain's bridge. I knew what I was going to do, but I couldn't forget that a certain pair of beady eyes were watching every move I made. Eyes that never blinked and never closed, just watched and waited. I turned and started up the gangplank.
It startled me, sir. Why, it's Mr. Warner.
Hello, Mother Willis. How's the best-looking stewardess on the 7th Sea?
I'm fine, Mr. Warner. I guess I'd better run along now. Get on with my trouble.
Oh, now, wait a minute. That's a fine greeting after 2 months.
It's just that I'm so busy.
I don't believe a word of it. Sailing day's tomorrow. You're simply avoiding me, that's all.
Oh, no, really, I'm not.
And on the trip down from New York, you said I was your favorite passenger.
But I'm only...
Here. What's that you're carrying in your apron?
Oh, it's nothing. Just supplies.
Supplies? Let's have a look.
No, please.
It's a cat.
It's Clara, Mr. Warner. Mr. Bowman said I had to leave her ashore, and I just couldn't.
Who's Mr. Bowman?
The new second mate. Clara's been aboard with me for 2 years, and I just can't leave her here in a foreign country. Especially with her condition so delicate now.
Yes, I see. Well, I hope you get away with it.
Yes. You won't tell anyone.
Not a soul. As a matter of fact, if things don't work out right, we may both end up smuggling.
Happy to have you aboard on the trip down 2 months ago, Christopher, and I'm very glad you're coming along with us on the run back to New York.
Thanks, Captain Wood. There is one thing, though. I'm having a little trouble with the customs men here, and I
I can't do it, Christopher. I just cabled your father this morning. Told him I'd have done it for you if I possibly could. He sent a request from New York, you know.
Yeah, I thought he would. I wired him from upriver last week.
I hated to refuse, but it's absolutely out of the question.
Captain Wood, I'm afraid I don't follow you.
Responsibility to the passengers, son. We'll have women and children aboard. On a liner, the safety of the passengers comes ahead of anything else.
But with proper precautions...
Something might happen.
What?
I don't know what, but something might.
Carried worse things.
There isn't anything worse. Any skipper afloat will bear me out. No, Christopher, I simply can't take the chance, so that's final.
Final. Wasn't final if I could do anything about it. I hadn't come down here to spend 2 months in that stinking backcountry and then be stopped on the edge of the wharf. 2 months of it. Heat, rain, insects, malaria. I'd gone clear in past the headwaters of the Orinoco. Traveled through country where every step along the jungle trail might be the last. Sanchez!
Si, Senor Wanda.
Better start looking for a place to camp. Be dark in a little while.
Si, senor. Very soon we'll turn to red. Camp on rough water. This is very bad country.
This very bad country. We've been staying here for 10 days now. Very bad country.
Si, Senor Wanda. This is very bad country.
Yes, Skipper. For all the luck we've had so far, it might as well be Central Park.
Central Park? I don't understand.
Never mind.
Where's that?
Yeah, what's the matter? Quiet now. Sanchez, what's wrong?
They're in the past. See. Bushmaster.
Bushmaster. The deadliest snake in the world. Bushmaster. Latin name was Lachesis muta. Mute fate. It lay there in the center of the path, a 10-foot length of silent death, coiled loosely in an undulant loop, ready to strike violently at the least movement. Here was the one snake that would go after any animal that walked, or any man. It lay there and watched it, not moving, not afraid, ready for anything. The splotch of its color stood out like some horrible, gaudy floor mat lying there on the brown background of the jungle, waiting for someone to step on it. Here was what I'd come 2,000 miles for, a bushmaster. The natives captured the snake, and Sanchez brought it to me in a rubber bag. He was shaking so hard I thought for a moment the thing had struck him.
One thing you make sure, Senor Warner. Not turn him loose in Venezuela. Because he know I the one who catch him. And he know where I live.
All right, Sanchez, I'll keep an eye on it.
He also know you pay me to catch him. All the time he watch and wait. He'll no forget that, Senor Warner. Because he no forget. Not ever.
Well, after going through all that trouble and danger and laying out $1,500, I wasn't going to let a pig-headed ship captain stop me at the last minute. At least not as long as the cables were still in operation between La Guaira and New York. Good morning, Captain Wood. The boys at the hotel said you wanted to see me.
That's right, Christopher. Sit down.
Thanks.
Seems you weren't willing to let matters stand the way we left him yesterday.
I'm sorry to go to your head, Captain Wood, but I had to. The museum sent me a long way to get that snake. I'm not going to be stopped by red tape. This will be the only live bushmaster ever brought to the United States.
Yes, if I had my way. But... Orders are orders. Got a cable from the head office this morning. All right, Christopher, suppose we talk about precautions.
I'll handle it any way you say.
You've got to have a stronger box. That crate's too flimsy.
Well, it's stronger than it looks. A wire screen on top would hold a wildcat. But anyway, I bought a heavy sea chest this morning. We'll put the crate inside of it.
Sounds all right. Is that lock on it?
Yeah, heavy padlock. It's fixed so the lid can be propped open a crack without unlocking. Snake's got there.
In dirty weather, that lid has to stay shut. I'll take no chances.
Fair enough.
We'll keep the thing in my inside cabin where I sleep. Can't have it in the baggage room. And nobody on board is to know about it.
Whatever you say, Captain. We won't have any trouble after all. It's only an animal that doesn't have any magical powers.
I saw a bushmaster in the zoo at Caracas once. They had it in a glass cage with double walls. Never moved. Just lay there and looked at you as long as you were inside. Enough to give a man the creeps.
I didn't know they had a bushmaster at the Caracas Zoo.
They don't now. They found the glass broken one morning and the snake gone, the night watchman dead. They never learned exactly what happened.
Well, the watchman must have broken the glass by accident somewhere.
The way they figured it, the glass was broken from the inside. We sailed in 4 hours.
Into the Caribbean with perfect weather and a sea as smooth as an inland lake. The barometer dropped a little on the third day, but cleared up overnight, left nothing worse than a heavy swell. But in spite of the calm seas and pleasant weather, I found myself feeling more and more often an ominous foreboding. I was developing an almost unnatural fear of that snake. Stay clear of the passengers pretty much. Got the habit of dropping into Captain Wood's quarters several times a day. Kept the heavy box underneath his berth. Approached it quietly and shined my flashlight through the open crack. Never once could I catch that 12-foot devil asleep, or even excited. He'd be lying there half-coiled, his head raised a little, staring out of those beady black eyes, waiting. It'd still be like that when I turned away to leave. Maybe that's what bothered me. That horrible and constant watchful waiting. What in the name of heaven was he waiting for?
Hello there, Mr. Warner.
Oh, how are you, Mother Willis?
My, but you and the captain spend an awful lot of time around this cabin. I'm beginning to think the two of you must have some guilty secret.
Oh, no, nothing like that, Mother Willis. I don't know about Captain Wood, but I certainly don't have any guilty secrets. Well, she's running quite a swell out there, Mr. Bowman.
Yeah, it's a little heavy, all right, Mr. Warner. Just a storm passed through to the west of us yesterday when the glass dropped.
You think it missed us then, huh?
Yeah, that's what the mate figures. Sure stirred up some water, though.
This will put half the passengers in that bunk. They'll keep Mother Willis so busy. Hey, look at the size of that wave.
Huh? Great sea horse of that. We're going to take it on the port bow. Hang on.
That was a freak if there ever was one. Not another wave that size in sight.
Oh, you see them like that sometimes, even in a calm sea. I got to get below, Mr. Warner. That water probably did some real damage in the officer's deck.
Yeah, what did you say?
The wheel companionway was open on the port side. The bridge cabins must have taken a pretty bad smashing up. They're right below the... Something wrong, Mr. Warner?
No, nothing at all, Mr. Bowman. At least I hope not. I didn't stop to find Captain Wood. Of course, I knew it was only one chance in 1,000, but the chances against that freak wave were 1 in 1,000, too. I stumbled down the companionway and along the passage to the captain's cabin.
Oh, come in, Mr. Warner.
Mother Willis.
My, this cabin a mess. Trying to get some of these things out to dry.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to... Where's that box that was under the captain's bunk?
Oh, that? Well, I just threw it out on the deck.
What?
Oh, the desk over there slid into it. It was all smashed.
But the small box inside of it, what happened to it?
Oh, they were both splintered, Mr. Warner. Broke wide open.
No.
Oh, Mr. Warner, you're white as a sheet.
Mother Willis, go find Captain Wood. Tell him to come down here immediately.
Well, of course, Mr. Warner. I'll go tell him right away. I can finish up here later.
I pulled open the top drawer of the bureau inside. Took out the captain's flashlight and loaded pistol. Mother Willis had left a mop standing by the door. I put my foot on the head of it and snapped off the handle. Every move I made turned into slow motion. I could hear my own heartbeat. Slowly, I started to search the cabin. Sodden heaps of clothing and furnishings were scattered around on the wet black floor. I punched at them one at a time, holding the gun cocked, flashlight pointing along the stick. Nothing. I worked around the room, throwing the light into the dark corners, back of the desk, under the bunk. Wherever I turned, I could feel those cold, unblinking eyes at my back, watching, waiting. Using the stick, I pushed open the closet door and threw the light inside. Carefully, I poked at the boxes and junk on the floor. Snake was not in the closet. Inch by inch, I covered the entire cabin. And only then a horrible realization began to dawn on me. Captain Wood.
Mother Willis just told me. Well, Christopher, it's happened.
That's right, it's happened.
After you found the gun, we better start searching the cabin here.
Captain Wood, I just finished searching it.
Oh, then. Women, kids, and that thing loose on board. 1,000 places for it to hide. Heaven help us, Christopher. Anybody now, gentlemen. I didn't call you in here to pass judgment. The thing's done, and that's that.
Well, you're right there, Captain.
What we have got to do is to make up our minds how we're going to handle it.
And it'd be easier if we didn't have to tell the passengers and crew. I've seen panicked aboard liners before.
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Bowman. But I don't quite see how we can avoid it.
They've got a right to know. As long as that snake's loose, everybody on board's in the same danger, and they all ought to know about it.
Captain Wood, that thing is 12 feet long. It can't simply crawl into a crack. Why don't we make a quick search of the whole ship before we spread any alarm?
Now, so do that, Christopher.
As far as I can see, the only place it couldn't be is in the boilers or on top of the galley stove.
Well, it might have crawled overboard. We can't count on that. We've got to assume it's on the ship somewhere.
Yeah, and that could be anywhere. In a coil of rope on a deck chair.
Our bucket or in a pile of clothes.
Yes, or under some woman's berth or a baby's crib.
You've already said it. Bushmaster could be anywhere. We've got to do something. We've got to do it fast.
All right. I think the best idea is to follow Mr. Warner's suggestion and make a quick search first. You agree to that?
Right.
And if we don't find it, we'll have to warn the passengers.
We've got to find it. Alone in the dim baggage room, I went through the same movements as I had earlier in the captain's cabin. Gun in one hand, flashlight in the other, poking into every dark corner, behind every trunk and box. Since the baggage room was empty, I could keep the gun cocked and ready. And the rest of those poor devils were having to do the same thing. Barehanded. All over the ship, the search went on.
Here now, Stuart, what on earth are you doing rummaging through my cabin?
Just checking up, ma'am.
Well, I'm quite sure there's nothing in here that has to be checked.
Sorry, ma'am. Captain's orders. It'll only take a few minutes.
Well, I never heard of such thing. A passenger simply doesn't have any privacy at all. I've traveled on a lot of different lines.
Sorry. Sir, I wonder if you mind moving over to the other rail. I'd like to look through these lockers.
Sure, go ahead. What's the matter? You lost something?
No, just looking things over.
Oh, there's nothing in there but life preservers.
Yeah, that's right.
You must be getting ready to sink the boat. Gonna collect the insurance, huh? Gonna send us all to the bottom, huh?
But not one of us could find that deadly shape, coiled in some dark corner or outstretched along a window seat. Not one of us caught a glimpse of that horrid head with its beady, black, watchful eyes. The thing lay waiting out there somewhere along the deck, shaded in the gathering dusk. But where? We didn't know. Nearly dark when we met together again in the chart room.
Well, gentlemen, there's no other way around it. We've risked all the time we can. We've got to warn the passengers.
How do we do it, Captain? Let's call them all together in the lounge?
No, if we did anything like that, we'd be asking for a panic.
We'll get one, whether we ask for it or not.
We pick a few men and go through the cabin decks. Get them individually, inside the cabin. Watch for any that act like they might cause trouble. We'll keep an eye on them. Handle the crew the same way.
Right, Captain.
As soon as you're finished, arm all the deck officers and start searching again. Our only chance of preventing a riot is to find that damnable snake.
The slow nightmare that followed grew worse by the hour. None of us slept. All the ship's officers not on duty kept on with that endless search. Passengers locked themselves in their cabins or huddled together in the lounges, knowing all the time that no spot on board could be called safe. Fear was a heavy fog in the lungs of all of us, and every light on the vessel burned throughout the night. Morning came, brought no relief. Terror and tension mounted by the hour.
There now, Mrs. Crane. Stop getting yourself all worked up and go back to your cabin.
Oh.
The horrid thing's probably crawled overboard
Oh, you're just
anyway.
saying that. You don't pay to say that. You don't know. Nobody knows.
Now, everything's going to be all right.
If only we can do something. If all of us could only get off the ship, they could fumigate it. Yes, that's it. We've got to get off the ship. We've got to get away.
Wait. Mr. Bowman, he's going to jump.
Hold it out, lady. Nice work, Mr. Bowman. Get her down to her cabin. Whatever you do, don't turn her loose.
You never know when it might strike you. You can't put on a coat or move a chair without risking your life. Something's got to be done. It might be right here in this lounge.
Yeah, all right, Mr. Bell. Better quiet down and take it easy.
Take it easy. You're a great officer. Why don't you do something about it? That thing might be crawling around here right under our feet somewhere.
I said, now, they're trying to start a panic.
I got a right to talk. I don't want to die. Nobody's going to tell me what.
The second night passed. Morning came round again. A gray and rainy day that dragged past. And then night came down again. Third night of the terror. Again, every light burned. The whole ship seethed in the throes of incipient panic. Faced by a horror they'd never met on the sea before, crew and officers alike were on the verge of revolt. Passengers sat huddled in a trance-like stupor, ready to scream at the slightest unknown sound. 7 bells, I made my way forward to the chart room, found Captain Wood bent over his desk.
Oh, hello, Christopher. Come on in. Sit down.
It's got to be somewhere, Captain Wood. It's got to be.
I don't know. You could search the ship for 6 months and never touch all the places aboard. If we can only hold out for 2 more days, we'll be in.
What's the Home Office say?
Use the latest wireless from them. Keep quiet and keep coming. What else can we do? How is it on the deck?
Pretty bad. Anything could happen.
Yes, that's why I took the guns away from the men. 1 pistol shot and we'd have a riot on our hands.
Whole thing's my fault, Captain Wood. That's what I can't forget.
Take it easy.
Now, if there was only some way I could pay for it myself alone.
I know how you feel. But it's no more your fault than mine, or the man who asked you to bring that snake back alive. Nobody planned this. You'd better try to get a little sleep, boy.
Sleep?
Mr. Bowman made some coffee down in the steward's galley a while ago. Why don't you go on down and get yourself a cup? Then rest for a couple of hours.
Rest? I can't rest.
Christopher, Not going to help anything if you stumble through a hatch half asleep and break your neck, is it? You go and get some coffee. One way or another, we've got to hold out for 2 more days.
Light was on the steward's galley. Coffee pot was standing on the stove. Still warm, so I didn't bother to heat it. Poured out a cup, carried it over and set it on the porcelain tabletop in the center of the room. Started to light a cigarette. The door of the pan cupboard beneath the sink was standing slightly ajar. I happened to glance toward it. I dropped the cigarette, moved slowly backward. I'd found the Bushmaster. As I moved, the snake slid out of the cupboard in a single sinuous glide, drew back into a loose coil on the galley floor, never taking his eyes off me. I moved slowly back, waiting any moment for that deadly, slithering strike. How had he known it was me? He'd stayed quiet when Bowman was here. How had he picked the first time in 5 days that I was without a gun? My hands touched the bulkhead behind me, and I stopped. Only then I realized the terror what I'd done. The call button and the door were on the far side of the room. I backed into a dead end. I stared at the snake in fascination, expecting any moment the ripping flash of those poison fangs. The horrid coil tightened a little, and was still again. 10 million years of evolution to produce this moment. Homo sapiens versus Lachesis muta. A man against mute fate. And all the odds were on fate. I knew then that I was going to die. Feel the sweat run down between the painted walls and the palms of my hands pressing against it. My skin crawled and twitched, and the pit of my stomach was as cold as ice. No sound but the rush of blood in my ears. The snake shifted again, drawing into a tighter coil, always tighter. Why didn't the devil get it over with? Then, just for an instant, his head veered away. Something moved over by the stove. I didn't dare turn to look at it. Slowly, it moved out into my line of vision. It was a cat. That scrawny cat Clara that Mother Willis had sneaked to Fort McGuire. Its back was arched and every hair stood on it. It moved stiff-legged now, walking in a half circle around the snake. The Bushmaster moved slowly and kept watching the cat. He tightened. He was going to strike at any second. He struck and missed. The cat was barely out of reach. But now she was walking back and forth again. She was asking to die. Missed again. By a fraction of an inch. He was striking now without even going to a full coil. Missed. Again and again, always missing by the barest margin. Each time the cat danced barely out of reach, and each time she countered with one precise pat of her dainty paw, bracing her skinny frame on 3 stiff legs. And then suddenly I realized what she was doing. The Bushmaster was past. The one strike was just an instant slow, but in that split second, sharp claws raked across the evil head and ripped out both the lidless eyes. The cat had deliberately blinded the snake. He didn't bother to coil now, but slid after her in a fury, striking wildly and rapidly, always missing. And every strike was a little slower than the last one, until finally... The snake's neck stretched out at the end of a strike. The cat made one leap and sank her razor-sharp teeth just back of the ugly head. Sank her until they crunched bone. Tooth and claw she clung as the monstrous snake flailed and lashed on the floor, striving to get those hideous coils around her, trying to break her hold, to shake off the claw in certain paralyzing death that gradually crept over him and at last stilled his struggles forever. I took a deep breath. The first in minutes. The cat lay on her side on the floor, panting. Resting from the fight just over. She had a right to rest. That mangy, brave, beautiful alley cat had just saved my life. And maybe others as well. But as I turned toward the stove, I suddenly became very humble. And I knew all at once what a small thing a human being really is. I and others aboard were still alive only by the merest accident. There were 3 reasons why that cat had fought and killed the world's deadliest snake. And those 3 reasons came tottering out from under the stove on shaky little legs. 3 kittens with their eyes bright with wonder and their tails stiff as pokes. Up on the decks, hundreds of passengers were waiting for the news that the days and nights of terror were ended. They could wait a little longer. I pulled open the doors of the cabinet, found a can of milk. Then I dropped down on my knees on the floor of the galley.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, and tonight brought to you A Shipment of Mute Faith by Martin Storm, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, featuring Harry Bartell as Chris Warner, Barry Kroger as Captain Wood, and Peggy Weber as Mother Willis, with Don Diamond, Sarah Selby, and Frank Gerstle. Special effects by David Light. The musical score was conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Next week,
you are hanging by your fingertips on the sheer face of an ice cliff, suspended 2,000 feet above instant death, with your strength running out, and with no chance for escape.
next week, Escape with C.E. Montague's exciting story, Action. Good night, then, until the same time next week, when CBS again offers you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Corbet.
Stand by to raise ship.
Blast off, -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Like a large silvery bullet, the rocket cruiser Polaris hurtles toward Earth, heading for a landing on the Academy spaceport after a long training cruise. Inside the ship, the crew prepares for touchdown with the ease of long practice. At the controls sit Tom Corbett and his astrogator, Roger Manning, while Astro stands by below on the power deck. And as the ship falls through the successive layers of atmosphere, gaining momentum, Tom and Roger stare through the viewport at the round ball of Earth rushing up to meet them.
What's our altitude, Roger? 100,000 feet, Tom. Keep tipping the altitude. 90,000 feet. We'd better start braking. Control deck to power deck. Check in.
Over there, guys.
Okay, Astro. Stand by to blast braking rocket.
Right, Tom. Ready whenever you are.
What did you say?
I'm all set, Tom.
Oh, okay. Couldn't hear you for a second. 70,000 feet. Hit them now, Astro. Braking rockets 1/4. Astro, acknowledge. Something's wrong down there, Roger. Something will be wrong up here, too, if we don't start braking. Down to 50,000. Take over the controls. I'm going down to the power deck. Blast, Junior, blast, or we're going to splash ourselves all over Space Academy. Astro, what's the... Great jumping Jupiter. control deck. Check in, Roger.
What are you waiting for, Junior? We're down to 25,000 feet.
Listen, Astro's out cold.
What?
Stand by your controls. I'm taking over down here. Hey, Astro, snap out of it. Come on.
Hey, cut it out, Tom. What are you trying to do?
Come on, wake up, Astro. Wake up.
Huh? Hey, where are we? Did we land okay? What happened?
That's what I'd like to know, sleeping beauty.
Oh, I must have blacked out. The last thing I remember, we were getting ready to land.
You sure picked a fine time to take a nap, Astro. You almost made it a permanent one for all of us.
I got dizzy. The whole ship seemed to be turning around, and well, that's all I remember.
Come on, Astro. Roger and I are taking you over to sick bay.
No, I feel fine now.
But, Astro, you'd better get a checkup.
There's nothing wrong with me, I tell you. In fact, I'm hungry. Come on, let's check in and go to chow.
Well, all right, Astro, if you say so, but I still think...
Oh, stop thinking about it, or I'll show you how healthy I am.
All right. Come on, let's go.
Well, good morning, Cadet.
Good morning, ma'am. Polaris unit reporting for class.
Do you have your laboratory assignment?
Yes, Dr. Dale. I'm in Laboratory J. Laboratory K for me. I stay right here, ma'am.
Very good. The labs are already set up with the equipment you'll need for your experiments. Here they are. Tom, Roger, Astro. Now, you're to make some of the gases that you meet on other planets in the solar system and study their properties. But I must warn you to be extremely careful because many of them are very poisonous, and even small quantities are dangerous. Now, is everything clearly understood?
Certainly, Dr.
All right, carry out your instructions. I'll be in my office if you need me.
Oh, brother. Look what I pull. Methane and ammonia, the stuff you find on Titan. Well, if you hear me coughing, think nothing of it.
Now, let's see. I've got diethylchlorine. Well, that should be easy to make.
Be careful, Astro. You don't blow up toy balloons with that stuff. It's one of the deadliest.
I can handle it. You'd better get over to your own lab, Tom, and get started. We haven't too much time on this deal.
Right. Are you sure you'll be all right, Astro?
Blast off, will you? I'm fine.
Okay, Astro. See you later.
Why don't those characters stop bothering me? I'm okay. Now, let's see. Diethylchlorine, huh? Blast it. Why don't they use bigger type in these instructions? I can hardly read them. Getting awfully warm in here. And the print, it's so blurred, the room, it's going around. I can't stop it. Help. Tom. Roger. Help me. Oh.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. You know, spacemen, there's a lot more to being a space cadet than just flying around space. The cadets have to work and learn on the ground, too. Now, take the Space Academy instrument shop. Space cadets learn to repair and operate all the instruments that are standard equipment on rocket ships and jet boats. You know, I saw Tom Corbett down there one day, and he was telling you all about it.
Hi there. I'm working on a radar scope. You know, a radar scope is the eyes and ears of a rocket ship. It's got to be in good working order, or else. Space cadets have to be in good working order, too, or else. That's why we stock up on good foods like Kellogg's Pep to get the food values we need for strong bones, strong muscles, and on-the-double energy. Kellogg's Pep helps me to start the day with plenty of stock, plenty of drive. And say, if you have plans for being a space cadet someday, the thing for you to do is to start eating Kellogg's Pep right now, starting tomorrow morning. Just ask your mom to get Kellogg's Pep.
Well, that was Tom Corbett talking about his favorite cereal again. You know, it's no surprise. Tom Corbett likes a cereal with lots of flavor, and Kellogg's Pep fills the bill perfectly. You try Tom Corbett's favorite wheat cereal tomorrow morning. Get the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Returning to Space Academy after a long training cruise, Astro suddenly blacks out, and only Tom's quick action saves the Polaris from a disastrous crash landing. Worried about their friend, Tom and Roger try to get Astro to sickbay for a checkup, but but he stubbornly refuses. Now, however, in a laboratory class, as he handles poisonous chemicals, the young cadet from Venus faints again, dropping several beakers. And as he lies unconscious on the floor, the room begins to fill with diethylchlorine, the deadly poison gas of the planet Uranus. Suddenly, however, the door is flung open and Tom Corbett rushes in.
Astro! Astro! Great Jupiter, he passed out again. Dr. Dale! Roger! Roger, come here! Wait! Hey, what's all the racket? Astro! Get rid of that beaker of gas. Quick, Roger. And open the windows. You bet.
Corbett. What happened to Astro?
He fainted, ma'am.
Get the emergency kit. Hurry, Tom. Give me the syringe with the camphor adrenaline.
Yes, ma'am. Here you are.
Here, hold his arm out. This should bring him out of it. If he didn't breathe too much of that gas.
There. Will he be all right, Dr. Dale?
Wait, he's coming out of it.
Hey. What happened?
You fainted, Astro.
Oh. I feel as if I swallowed a jar of mustard.
No, just a few mouthfuls of diethylchlorine. Do you think he'll be all right now?
Oh, sure, ma'am.
Well, I'm sending you to sick bay with Roger.
Oh, no. Well, that isn't necessary, Dr. Dale. I feel fine now. I don't want to...
That is an order, Cadet Astro.
Yes.
Come on, Junior. After those gas pits of Venus, I can't understand how a nice gas like diethylchlorine can bother you.
Tom.
Yes, Dr. Dale?
You're pretty close to Astro, aren't you?
He's my best friend, Dr. Dale.
Well, tell me, has Astro seemed, different lately? Has he changed in any way?
Well, come to think of it, ma'am, he has. Usually he's pretty calm and easygoing. The only one who can ever get a rise out of him is Roger. But on this last training flight, he was jumpy and irritable, even with me. And then sometimes I found him staring into space. He seemed to be dreaming. I had to call him a couple of times to make him snap out of it.
I see.
Does that mean anything to you, ma'am?
I'm afraid it does.
Then you know what's the matter with him?
Well, frankly, Tom, I think Astro is suffering from a disease all spacemen fear the most. Space fever.
Space fever?
Yes, Tom. And if I'm right, Astro's days as an active cadet are numbered. If he doesn't pass the examination, he'll be grounded forever or medically discharged from the academy.
Dr. Dale, Captain Strong, is Astro all right?
Sorry, Tom, but the results aren't all in yet. Right now, it's touch and go.
The last test Astro took will tip the balance one way or the other. We'll just have to wait.
Okay, we'll wait here with you.
No, I'm afraid you can't, Tom. I've just received orders from Commander Arkwright to blast off on a routine training flight to Mars. We raise ship in 1 hour.
Is Astro coming with us?
We probably won't know until just before flight time, Roger. But this much is certain. If Astro isn't in our crew when we raise ship, he'll never go into space again. Are we ready to blast off, Corbett?
Aye, sir.
Did you get clearance from Spaceport Control, Manning?
Yes, sir. We're on 10-minute alert.
Very good. Notify Control we'll blast off on schedule.
Well, sir, what about...
Well, speak up, Corbett.
Isn't Astro coming along?
Astro? Well...
Cadet Harvey reporting, sir.
Oh, yes. Corbett, Manning, I want you to meet George Harvey, a new member of the Polaris unit. Cadet Harvey will take over the power deck.
The power deck? But that's Astro's station.
Sir, does that mean that Astro...
We'll talk about that later, Tom. I'll be back in a moment. You might make Cadet Harvey feel a little more at home.
So you're the new power pusher, huh? How do you rate getting into this unit?
I don't know. I just got orders to report to the Polaris. Very glad to be with you. Heard you're a pretty good crew.
We're the best crew, Junior. And while I'm about it, I might as well let you know where you stand around here.
Wait a minute, Roger. He stands equal with all of us. Don't mind him, Harvey. You see, we're disappointed that...
Skip it, Corbett. I heard about Astro. I'm only afraid I won't be able to fill his shoes.
You will, after we work on you a little while.
All right, boys. Get ready for blastoff. But first, I want you to meet a passenger we're going to carry on this flight.
A passenger? What are we running, a ferry service?
That will be enough from you, Manning.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Now, this passenger is important to all of us. I want you to show him every consideration.
Astro!
Why, you old space
Oh, this is terrific, Captain Strong. Why didn't you tell us Astro was rejoining the crew?
I'm not rejoining you, Tom. I'm just going along for the ride.
The ride? That's right, Manning. Astro is only a passenger. The examination wasn't conclusive, so he's being sent on this trip to test his reactions out in space. His future status in the Academy will depend on how he comes through. Well, that's the story. Prepare for blastoff.
What a lucky stiff you are, Astro. To be able to dope off while we chauffeur you around the universe.
Shut up, Roger. Shut up.
What?
Why, listen here, you...
Yes, Roger. This is no time to kid around.
All right, boys. Take your stations.
Atmosphere, Captain Strong.
Right. Put the ship on automatic control. Oh, where's Astro?
Topside, sir, in his bunk.
You boys will have to handle him with silk gloves. Use every bit of tact and understanding you can.
But, Captain, if he isn't well, why did the doctor let him come along?
Tom, the pressure test showed him to be a borderline case of space fever. Now, that apparatus is the nearest thing we have to actual space flight, but it's still just an electronic device. So the final proof had to be an actual flight. In fact, I insisted on this trip against the advice of the doctors.
You kind of stuck your neck out, sir.
Yes, in a way. If anything should happen to Astro now, I'll be responsible.
Strong, we're approaching Mars orbit. Ready to land in 10 minutes.
Good. Prepare for landing operation, Tom. Oh, but have Astro come down here first.
Aye, sir. Hello, Astro. Check in.
Go ahead, Tom.
We land in 10 minutes. The skipper wants you down on the control deck.
What's the matter? Is he afraid I'll black out again?
Of course not, Astro. Come on down. He's certainly getting jumpy, Skipper.
Yes, I've noticed. You better alert Harvey to stand by.
Control deck to power deck. Check in.
Power deck, got it.
Approaching orbit of Mars. Prepare for standard approach.
Ready anytime you want, Tom.
Right. Cadet Harvey seems to be fitting in nicely, sir.
I'm glad of that.
Cadet Astro reporting as ordered, sir.
Well, Astro, how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Oh, good. Well, we're approaching Mars. You'd better stay with us until we land.
Why, so you can keep your eye on me?
What's that? Captain Strong. Take a look out there, out in space.
What? Great Jupiter, we're in the middle of a meteor shower.
What a show. This is a ringside seat.
It's just a little too close for me. If one of those white-hot pieces of space junk ever hits us, we'll be part of the fireworks.
Any chance of that, sir?
Well, not much, I guess. There's very little possibility of a direct hit, but you never know.
Hey, did you see that?
Oh, that was a close one.
I could feel the heat right through the hull.
Who turned on the heat? I feel as if I'm being frozen alive up here.
Sir, I think I smell smoke.
What? Well, Tom, you're right. Quick, sound the emergency alarm. The ship is on fire.
Radar bridge control deck, check in.
Control deck guy, go ahead, Roger.
Who turned up the heat? I'm getting toasted up here.
What? Oh, Captain Strong, look. Smoke coming from the main duct. Great galaxy, the ship is on fire.
The smoke is coming from the power deck vents. Call Harvey, quick, Tom.
Control deck to power deck. Check in, Harvey.
Power deck, got it.
Harvey, what happened down there?
The heat from that meteor. It kills the cabling on the main control board. Everything's short-circuited, and the auxiliary radiation tank is on fire.
Captain Strong, did you hear that?
Yes, we've got to kill that fire, and fast, or the whole ship will blow up.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment, so stand by. Say, Spaceman, how many different magic eyes do you have in your collection right now? Do you have the magic eye showing Paramount star Bill Holden in a scene from the picture Submarine Command? Do you have the magic eye showing a jet streaking through the sky? Do you have the magic eye showing trains, planes, and all the others, like movie stars, sports stars, all your favorites? Well, say, Spaceman, let's get a move on. Those magic eyes are just waiting to be picked up at your grocery store. That's right. You get a magic eye with a picture that moves and shows you exciting action. Now, every package of Kellogg's Pep has a magic eye packed right inside. Here's a prize you don't have to wait for, you don't have to send for. All you have to do is to get Kellogg's Pep, and you'll get a magic eye free at no extra cost right inside the package. Don't delay, Spaceman. Get all 16 of these exciting magic eye pictures in your magic eye collection. Remember, there's a magic eye in every package of Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Believed to be a victim of space fever, Astro was taken on a routine training flight to Mars as a passenger in order to test his reactions out in space. But now, as the powerful rocket ship nears its destination, it is suddenly engulfed by a large meteor shower. And as one white-hot meteor passes dangerously close, its heat fuses the cables in the main control board and sets the ship aflame. Attention all hands. Attention all hands. Breakout spacesuits. Emergency fire procedure. Radar bridge. Check in.
Radar bridge, aye.
Contact Marsport. Send out a distress alarm.
Aye, sir.
Tom.
Aye, Captain Strong.
Close all portals and seal the decks. We'll try to keep the fire from spreading.
Right, sir. Captain Strong, I'll go down to the power deck and see if I can
You'll
do something.
stay right where you are, Astro.
But, sir, I can help.
You'll help me by keeping out of the way. Hello, control deck to power deck. Check in, Harvey.
Power deck, aye.
Are the automatic extinguishers working? Can they hold the fire to the auxiliary tank?
No, sir, I can't get a thing out of them. They're not working. The fire is spreading fast.
Then dump the reaction mask.
I can't, sir. All electric controls are out. The whole cabin is shorted.
All right, abandon the power deck. Get up here on the double.
Aye, sir.
Captain Strong, let me take over down there. Harvey's a good man, but he hasn't got the
Sorry,
experience.
Astro, we can't risk it.
But, sir,
You heard me, Astro. I can't take the chance of you blacking out down there. Now, for the last time, keep out of my way.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Captain Strong.
Manning, did you contact Marsport?
I couldn't, sir. The radar bridge is dead. Nothing's working. That's why I came down here. Even the ship's intercom is out. Captain Strong, I can't seal the portals. All power is gone.
Then that does it. We'll have to abandon the ship.
Wait a minute, sir. There's still a way to put the fire out. Are you crazy, Junior? The extinguishers won't work. Space is a good extinguisher. Space?
I think you've got something there, Tom. If we can open the power deck airlock, all the oxygen will rush out, and the fire won't be able to sustain itself. It'll be smothered.
That's the idea, sir.
Go on. Get your spacesuit on, Tom. We haven't a second to lose. Watch your step, Tom. If that fire touches your spacesuit, you're done for.
I'll be careful, sir.
Can you see the airlock? So smoky in here, I can't. Over this way. Keep your hand on my shoulder.
Oh, right. Look at those flames. They're awfully close to the main tank.
Keep moving, Tom. There's the lock.
Yeah. I see it, sir.
Now, we'll have to open it manually. Are you ready?
Oh, wait. Let me get a good grip on it.
Right. And watch yourself. Don't get caught in the draft when the air rushes out.
Okay, sir. I'm ready.
Pull!
Oh, there you go. I can't touch it.
Keep trying.
Sir, the fire. It's licking at the main reactor tank.
Never mind that, Tom. Get this airlock open. Pull!
Aye, sir. It's giving a little.
Now, once more. Give it all you've got.
Get it, sir. The fire is out.
All right, boys. Everything's under control now. Tom and I did a patch job on the main control panel. We'll be able to land at Marsport.
Nice going, Skipper. I thought sure we were going to be blown sky high.
That was close, all right. Harvey.
Oh, yes, sir.
Get back down to the power deck and cut in number 2 and 3 rockets. That's all we'll need.
Aye, sir.
And you get back to your station, man.
Right, sir. What about me, sir? You still want me down here on the control deck?
Yes, Astro. Until we land.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Astro, I'm sorry if I was a little abrupt with you before, but, well, you should understand.
Don't worry, Captain Strong. I understand perfectly. If you'll excuse me, I'll lie down on one of the acceleration cushions. I've got to take good care of myself, you know. He's sure taking it hard, Captain Strong.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing we can do about it, I'm afraid. This is one battle Astro has to fight with himself, and the odds are stacked against him. Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Thursday, when the crew of the Polaris rockets into danger on the return flight to Earth, and Astro takes the final test in his trial in space. Tune in, same time, same station on Thursday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom